Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Michelle Brown with Leading Educators with your Week 4, Day 17 distance learning lesson. So for a quick review, remember in every video, you're going to get a list of the resources and materials that you'll need, a brief overview of what we're going to be learning in the lesson, a quick model for some of the reading, thinking, speaking, and writing required by the lesson, and then a preview of the learning for upcoming lessons. And so here's where we are in our week. Yesterday, we completed a first read of this week's article, Quality of Life Indicators, and you thought about different quality of life indicators. Today, you'll be doing a quick jumpstart activity and then completing a close read of the text. After you complete the lesson activities for the day, remember, you should share your learning with a family member, friend, or caregiver. Complete the weekly fluency activity using a page from the text, and do at least 20 minutes of additional reading of whichever text you like. But before we actually get into the lesson, we need to get our brains warmed up. So here's our riddle for the day. People make me, save me, change me, raise me. What am I? Again, people make me, save me, change me, raise me. What am I? Okay. If you need more time to think, just hit pause on the video because I'm about to reveal the answer. Okay. So what am I? Money, right? Of course, we know people make money, they save money, they might change money, right? Like you make change when you buy something. And of course, people raise money to help people or help organizations that they appreciate. So this is another case of, one of those riddles where you really have to think about those words in all sorts of different ways. And so with that, now that our brains are nice and warm, let's get started. First thing is collect the materials you'll need for the lesson. This is lesson 17, which you're going to find on page 53 in the packet. You'll also need the note catcher, which is on page 54, the text that we're reading this week, which is on pages 45 through 48, and of course, something to write with. To quickly refresh your memory of this week's focus, we're going to continue our study of the Quality of Life Indicators article, keeping our two guiding questions in mind. What is needed in order for each of us to have a good quality of life? And how is our life's destiny determined by the quality of our lives? Here's our learning target for today. Let's read it together. I can create a narrative description of data I collected about my own quality of life to add to an analysis of complex texts. Our focus is going to be on going back to the text to do a close reading of a key section. To get you warmed up, you'll start by rereading the quality of life statements from lesson 15. Then you'll think about improving your own quality of life. Your discussion today will focus on your reflection about your quality of life. And you'll end by completing your close reading and answering a few questions on your note catcher. Now that you have an idea of what to expect in our lesson today, let's get started. You'll start by doing a jumpstart activity. Take a look back at the quality of life statements that you reviewed in lesson 15. Which ones are most important to you to help you feel satisfied and happy? Now think about which one of those you want to work to improve and write your answer in the top box of your note catcher. For example, when I reviewed my answers, this is what I decided I wanted to write. Based on my rating from lesson 15, the quality of life indicator that guarantees my happiness is positive mental and physical well-being. When my thoughts are positive and my body is healthy, then my relationships are strong and life is more fun overall. I want to focus on improving this indicator by taking time to get outside and take a walk each day. So now, pause the video and take some time to try answering this jumpstart question for yourself. Once you have that written down, envision how your quality of life will improve now that you've realized the areas you would like to improve. Do you see yourself being more intentional about making time for certain people or activities? Do you see yourself saying yes or no to participating in certain types of activities to improve your quality of life? Write a few of your thoughts in the margins near the Jumpstart box on your note catcher. Once you do that, it's time to put on your researcher hat and interview someone about their quality of life. Your task will be to reread the statements and then ask a family member, caregiver, or friend which statements align with how they feel about their current quality of life. Then you'll review the data to notice trends. To do this, You may want to ask yourself how their answers compare to yours and what similarities and differences there are between your answers. End your conversation by discussing the area that gives you the most contentment and what that suggests about you as a person. For example, if I get the most contentment out of participating in a variety of social activities, does that suggest that I'm extroverted? After you finish your discussion, you'll go back to your text and note capture and try to do the rest of the lesson on your own, starting with a close read. For your close reading, you can go back to the parts of the text that you underlined during your first read. If you didn't already do this, write some notes in the margins about the importance of those sections. Then ask yourself questions about what you think the author meant or what connections might be made with another part of the text. Finally, think about the answer to these questions and write these down on your graphic organizer. So let me show you an example. In this section of the text, I highlighted these sentences about averages during my first read. So to measure quality of life, researchers often look at averages for an issue being studied. However, averages can be a very poor representation of a population. They might tell part of a story, but each person's story is unique. As I'm rereading this paragraph now, I'm wondering some things. Like, how is the use of averages to measure quality of life fair to people on either side of the averages? Could people find themselves on different sides of the average based on what's being measured? And when I think through that question, where I conclude is, this makes me think that many people may not agree with published quality of life indicators because their specific data points might be far from the average, right? So if I know that average income is X and I make way less money than that, then I might not agree with or trust those quality of life indicators. And this is in line with what the author is saying here about each person's story being unique. You're going to follow a similar format of what I've done here when you do your close read, taking notes on your note catcher along the way, making note of what questions you're asking yourself and what conclusions you're drawing. After you finish your close reading, return to your note catcher to answer the following question using evidence from the text. According to the article, is a good quality of life determined mostly by individuals or by societies? And to help me answer this question, I'll go back to the text and look for the different quality of life indicators that the author discusses, which are based on society and which are based on individuals. Based on what I find, do I think it is up to individuals to determine whether they have a good quality of life, or is it based on society? As always, if you get stuck and need some help, you can reach out directly to your English teacher via email using the format you see here. In our next lesson, we're going to continue our analysis by reading a different part of the text and refining our definition of this week's vocabulary words. We've come to the end of another video. Until next time, remember, don't forget to talk about your lesson with someone. Read 20 minutes and complete a reading log entry. The reading log is at the front of your packet. And finally, practice reading fluency using the first or second page of our weekly reading. Enjoy your learning, and I'll see you soon.